What's up, guys? This is Arma Crossover. I'm back with a new episode of Naruto 1 to the Marvel Universe Part 13 and the invitation to the video. Consider a like and review my channel, like my content, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions. Now let's begin this new video.
Wendigo Apocalypse, Chapter 14 Base SMASH New Mexico's Vista Verde National Park. Several species adapted to the harsh temperature called the Lonely Mountain in New Mexico's desert's home. The mountain is home to 5 creatures who use it as a base for their heroic actions. They are known for being some of the world's most physically powerful beings, with their leader being the most powerful of all. They were known as the Hulks, but their full name is the Agents of SMH, and they were led by none other than the original Hulk. Speaking about the Hulks, all 4 of them were there in the hangar where their plane had gone missing. "Where is it?" one of the Hulks demanded, clearly agitated. She was also the lone female on the team, while being taller than the typical human but shorter than her male teammates. Her dark brown hair reached her shoulders, complementing her light green skin tone and eyes. Under the focused gazes of his teammates, a bomb giggled uneasily. Well, He blinked abruptly, recalling the essential gift from Boston. "The package hasn't made a sound in a few hours." "Oh. What did you do now?" Hulk inquired, recognizing a bomb's worried demeanor. The expression that informs him of the Blue Hulk's blunders. A bomb nervously giggled after typing on the ship's keypad. "Well, I may or may not have." "Kidnapped me." "Exactly." A bomb stared owlishly, not recognizing the voice. When the blue SMASH agent turned around, he was met with a gloved fist. Hulk and his followers watched as their newest member flew across the hangar before collapsing into a wall. When they turned around, they saw a person dressed in dominant black with orange streaks and a beaked hood that concealed his identity, with a katana strapped to his back. "Someone irritated me, and that person is going to pay," Naruto exclaimed, since it was their first feast on a significant holiday. He went out on a quick patrol when the bizarre apparatus that restricted his strength caught him off surprise. Of course, he could have destroyed the airplane with a Rasengan, but it would have meant free falling to his death unless he activated Sage Mode. Even then, it would have been a waste of Senjutsu chakra for such a trivial matter. He also wanted to see the large green and the others after overhearing the blue monster named a bomb discuss them. Naruto cleared his throat and circled his wrist a few times to relieve the stinging. "Wow, that blue guy has tough skin. I'm curious how the others are doing." His thoughts were interrupted when one of the gigantic humanoid entities, the red one, yelled angrily. "Hey, who are you, bum? Who are you?" Naruto said again, this time to the red one. He was dressed in a light gray sleeveless shirt, military-style green slacks, and firearms on his back. His expression was austere, with no tolerance for anything less than perfection, and he projected military authority. "You look like you need to go to the bathroom or something. Are you constipated?" Red Hulk heard repressed laughs from She-Hulk, who had her mouth covered with a hand while Scar taunted him with a finger. Hulk, for his part, nods in accord with the cloaked hero's statement. "Why, you little..." He took a step closer to the smaller human, his head almost touching the Crimson Hulk's chest. "If you weren't so fragile, I'd teach you a lesson or two." "Red, you do realize he punched a bomb like nothing, right?" Hulk asked, his face solemn. His gaze was fixed on the tiny human, who was no longer present. "This is not your ordinary hero." "Holy crap, you can speak." Hulk spun around, surprised to discover Naruto in disguise standing there. "From what I've heard about you, I assumed you couldn't talk at all," he said, poking the green monster in the stomach a few times. "And you're ripped too. What's your secret for the abs?" Naruto inquired, contemplating some serious workouts to get extreme abs for his wife. His thoughts were shattered as he dived to the side to avoid a fist the size of a small vehicle. "Hey, that wasn't very nice," Naruto grumbled in front of the irritated Hulk, who drew back his stretched fist. "But where are my manners? I was merely patrolling the city of Boston before being kidnapped. I am Patronus." She-Hulk's eyes became aware. "That's right, I saw you on the news. Nice job on the mayor." "Cap told me about you," Hulk said as he carefully examined Patronus. "I didn't expect much, but you managed to impress the old man." He crossed his big arms. "What else can you do?" "Not much except..." Naruto paused when he heard noise behind him before clenching his fists with his might. "I'm strong enough to punish the guy who kidnapped me," he yelled at the now aware Blue Hulk. A bomb exclaimed exaggeratedly and was about to respond with a witty comeback when his crew stepped behind the smaller Patronus with expectant looks. I can explain. Can I please? Naruto asked Hulk almost eagerly. Hulk gazed at the technical genius, who appeared innocent, but now was the moment for the blue-skinned agent to learn about consequences. Go right ahead. Naruto grinned evilly as he approached the nervous A-bomb with cracked knuckles before launching into the punishment with loud solid hits. TTIIPMX TTIIPMX TTIIPM, after an hour, Colorado's Rocky Mountains. Let me get out of here, and when I get out, I'm going to smash someone. After Hulk's shout, Naruto turned to face the monster, his ears down. Are you always like this? Yes, exclaimed all Hulks, including the green. I see. So, Big Green, what's the deal with taking a vacation? Hulk just replied, I don't like vacations, and you won't like me when I'm on vacation. A-bomb decided to confront the hooded hero with the truth. Hulk doesn't like vacations because he thinks we end up trashing the place. We do, and people get hurt. Now let me out, exclaimed Hulk. Following that, A-bomb began listing all of the ski resort-related activities that might be done in the mountains, such as skiing, snowboarding, and snow angels on the ground. Okay, Naruto replied as he shuddered as the aircraft they were in rocked. I don't like flying. Following A-bomb's punishment, the Hulks introduced themselves to the Bostonian hero and granted him a tour of their secret facility. They only did so due of Captain America's support for the hero and his actions on Yamatai Island, which included rescue survivors like Lara Croft, and the fact that he's one of the few humans who hasn't talked down to them, had the ability to punch one of them, or has shown any evidence of fear upon encountering them. Naruto grew accustomed to addressing the SMASH agents by their given names. Red for the Red Hulk, Jenny for She-Hulk, Scar and A-bomb, and Big Green for the Green Hulk. When they offered him a holiday in the snowy mountains, Naruto considered the girls and children. Naruto heard the phrase, Sasquatch, from A-bomb as he stared at the blue member who was talking to one of the floating camera machines before attempting to call them using Sky's phone. Hear that, Gamma fans? You'll be the first to see one captured on camera. You watch way too many Bigfoot reality shows, kid, Red remarked. There are no 9-foot monkey people walking around in forests. Jenny shifted her gaze to her passengers. All right, guys. Buckle up and prepare for landing. Just then, the front of the aerial vehicle began to sway strangely, and all passengers turned to see a muscled man in a tight brown and yellow uniform with pointed ears all around. 3 long knives grew from the base of his knuckles, revealing his savage fangs beneath an overflowing white mustache-beard combo. And he was recognized by one of the Hulks. Wolverine? A shocked Hulk inquired. Eh? That's Wolverine? Naruto exclaimed, stunned. Wolverine roared as he leapt to the center of the plane, his claws effortlessly cutting through the outer hull. The furry hero sliced out one of the jet's engines before anyone could respond. Jenny exclaimed, We're going down. Thanks for the obvious, Patronus said, his stomach churning. The plane crashed on the snowy ground, ejecting all except one of the passengers. The cold temperature made Naruto shiver, but the SMASH operatives were unconcerned. Jenny inquired of her teammates, so, was that jump jet number 9? That was your 9th one. Naruto was taken aback. What did you guys do with the previous ones? He said, remaining silent. Fine, don't tell me. I'll find out for myself. Jen inquired about her cousin. Where's Hulk? Hulk had emerged from the smoldering wreckage by then, having broken free from the cuffs that had bound him during the journey. The plane is the least of our concerns. Hulk, was that really Wolverine? A-bomb inquired. I didn't get a good look, but yeah. I think so, Hulk said, his voice husky. Little Weasel has finally gone rabid, hasn't he? She-Hulk lifted her eyebrow in surprise. Rabid? She asked, surprised. That's an understatement. He's gone nuclear. Just look at what he did to this place. The entire crew gazed around the forest and noticed cut marks on the barks of trees, felled trees, and some metal equipment. Someone used a chainsaw to level the ground, or in this instance, a feral mutant with shiny blades in his hands. As A-bomb talked to the camera about his horror movies, Patronus moaned at the mess he had gotten himself into. I should have taken the bus back home instead. He was tempted to Hirashine back to the homestead, but his good nature wouldn't let him abandon the Hulks in the freezing winter mountains. Damn it, my good side. Feral roaring resonated in the snowy plain, alerting the heroes. Scar said in terrible English, Beastman is coming back. The growls got louder and louder as the dark guy got closer and closer until it was time to strike. And it was for the tiniest member of the bunch. When she watched Wolverine fly into the air and hold his claws in a downward motion towards the Boston hero, she said, "Patronus, look out." Naruto twisted his body and caught Wolverine's leg and arm as he whirled around with the mutant's momentum before tossing him away. "Easy boy. Want a treat?" he joked as the bearded Wolverine displayed his claws. "That ain't the Wolverine I know. We go way back." As they readied for another round, Hulk circled around like Wolverine. "Calm down, Wolfie. As much as I want to smash you into next Saturday," Wolverine howled before charging at him. "Have it your way," Hulk said, kicking up a fallen log that twisted Wolverine before punching the costumed man into a tree. Patronus saw the downed Wolverine before he suddenly arose as if nothing had occurred. "Damn, this guy must be tough." She-Hulk informed the lesser hero, "He's a mutant with super healing abilities." Red pursued her with crossed arms. "And a skeleton laced with unbreakable adamantium. He's tough." For a runt, Wolverine muttered as Red approached. "I'll show you how to put down this rabid wolf, huh?" Wolverine had collapsed to his knees in agony. "Good job there, Red. Your constipated face made him bow to you," Naruto joked. "I haven't even hit him yet," Red said, seemingly disappointed. Hulk noticed something unusual about Wolverine's physical bulk, which appeared to be diminishing. The Green Giant came to one insight as a result of this: he's changing. She-Hulk intervened to prevent Red from harming the mutant by pointing at him. "He's right, take a look." "Jen?" Wolverine asked, perplexed. His white beard and mustache were gone, as were his crimson eyes, and his voice was roughly deep. "Where am I? What happened?" he asked, his voice raspy. Jen responded hesitantly, "You were possessed or something." Wolverine grunted as he broke his neck from Hulk's earlier attack before looking at the outfit in front of him. "So, it's true, Hulk. You've got your own dwarves. Nice," he remarked sarcastically. "Let me guess. Dopey, happy, and bashful." He marked a bomb, Scar, and Red. And one of them was not happy about it. Red approached the mutant and said, "Hey Shrimpy. You better believe I'll pound you into the ground so deeply that you'll think you're a fossil." As Red lifted his head forward, Wolverine retaliated by digging his claws into his chin. "My mistake. I guess I found Grumpy instead," he observed, amused. The irate Hulk shoved Red aside. "No, I'm not Grumpy." Naruto muttered to himself, "This reminds me of my rivalry with Sasuke. Geez, man." He blinked, realizing something. "Did he just call me a dwarf?" he screamed, only to be dragged back by Hulk and carried like a kitten. "Let me at him. I'll teach him not to call me a dwarf." As the Hulk seized him by the back of his cloak, his arms and legs kicked nothing but air. "As much as I want to smash him, kid," Hulk grumbled as Naruto eventually calmed down and let him down on the ground. "Who's the runt?" Wolverine inquired sternly. He chuckled as he attempted to kick the hooded figure again. "However, that outfit looks familiar." She-Hulk stepped in between them to intercede. "If you're done," Patronus said, "let's get to the bottom of this. Wolverine, what has happened?" Wolverine walked past them, saying, I think I was bitten by a wendigo. It's an ancient curse monster. All bites are contagious." He knelt down in a spot where the dirt was plainly disturbed. "Like in a zombie movie. This is so cool," exclaimed A-Bomb. Naruto snarled when zombies were mentioned. It reminded him of the smug son of a bitch who wanted to take Seiko back to her dimension as his sex slave. "Except it's real, and there's got to be a cure, right?" Wolverine spun around. "My healing factor worked, but the curse has already turned everyone else in this resort. If the curse spreads beyond this valley, the world is doomed. Our only chance is to keep it in the mountain and contain it," Hulk said, pounding his fist into his left palm. Red smiled as he lifted a large box he had saved from the ruins. "Then let's lock and load." TTIIPMX Boston, United States of America, Massachusetts. Seiko sang pleasantly as she passed by the park with her children in their pram. Masaki observed a juggler with astonishment as Ashla cooed at the butterfly that landed on his head. "Do you want to go watch them?" Her twins cooed affirmatively when Seiko sat on a bench and adjusted the stroller so her children could see the juggling. TTIIPMX The Rocky Mountains, United States of America, Colorado. Naruto bended backwards to avoid a claw swipe before kicking away a being equal in height to the Hulk's. They possessed snow-white fur and the same red eyes as Wolverine, but they had a long tail and 2 black horns on their forehead. It had to be a wendigo. When Naruto sensed another from behind, he flipped over it and kicked his feet into the other wendigo's back, knocking it to the ground. Red couldn't help but be amazed by the cloaked hero's cavalier dismissing of the horde of wendigos. Hulk and Wolverine punched down more wendigos, but their attention was drawn to Patronus, who seized 2 wendigos' arms and flung them into many trees. You knew about this? Not a clue, Wolfie. Wolverine responded with a grunt. Well, don't get bitten or scratched, or you'll turn into one. Thanks for the late advice, Captain Obvious. Naruto easily sidestepped a number of wendigos before sweeping their feet and kicking their heads with 2 fast axe kicks. Red raised his sophisticated gun and fired 2 devastating bullets at the wendigos. A bomb put out his arms to ward off a wendigo before pushing it back and curling up in a perfect spherical as he drove into it through a tree. He uncurled and triumphantly laughed as he fired his own blaster at a couple more wendigos. A bomb declared firmly, "No wendigo is getting through my armor." Red chuckled heartily as his blasts knocked off a couple wendigo. You wendigos smell worse than 100 wet wolverines. Jen replied, now you know what your breath smells like, Red. What? Red demanded angrily as Naruto snorted, fighting the impulse to chuckle at the burn remark. Scar and Wolverine used their swords and claws to hack down 2 trees that had fallen atop their wendigo opponents. Naruto reunited with Hulk, whose gaze was drawn to an overlooking hill as well. It was a wendigo, but bigger, with a crimson gem on its breast and bigger horns. The Wendigo King's cry resonated down the valley, reaching their ears. Looks like that guy's the top dog. What makes you say that? The fact that more Wendigo are coming our way or the glowing gem on his chest? Naruto cynically said, as Hulk fought the temptation to bash him into the ground. Red punched a hurt Wendigo who wheezed in misery on the snow many times. Take a nap, Fangface. Red? The eponymous member asked, his face a worried bomb. Remember rule number 4. The monster never stays down, Red mumbled as the Wendigo rose up and prepared to attack the distracted Red Hulk. Jen, thankfully, rescued the day by punching the Wendigo away from Red. I think a bomb has found his calling, annoying monster hunter. Meanwhile, Wolverine pounced on a fleeing Wendigo and was about to kill it when the Hulk snatched him. Stop, that's enough, exclaimed Hulk to the mutant. Let me go. Wolverine yelled, struggling against the behemoth's grip while the Wendigos departed for the time being. I had him, he yelled at Hulk, who was pressing his face against his. There are other ways to do it. Killing is not one of them, Hulk responded, irritated by Wolverine's readiness to kill. Wolverine's way of thinking frustrates him. You've really gone soft, Hulk, Wolverine grumbled as he waved his claws at the colossal beast. Hulk roared, his fists clenching with an audible crack. 2 deep blue and gold blades threatened their throats before the furious rivals could dish out. Naruto stood between Hulk and Wolverine, holding the blades close to his body to limit their motions. Knock it off, you two. As much as I want to see you fight it out, especially since I have $5 on Hulk, we have bigger problems here. While Wolverine hissed lowly at him, Hulk inhaled deeply and nodded at the cloaked hero's argument. His gaze went from the blue blade that held Hulk back to the small golden blade that threatened to slice his throat. They widened slightly as he recognized the long-forgotten design. So, he's one of them, and they still exist, he agreed, putting his claws away. Fine, fine, fine. Naruto drew his hidden blade and sheathed Kogitsune behind him. He bent down to one of the footprints as his vision shifted to soft bluish-white and dark brown bordering black trees. He saw Red running across the hills in the distance. They went that way. Let's go, Hulk said as the group marched into the deep jungle. They also didn't seem to notice the 3 scratches on a bomb's blue skin, armor. TTIIPMX time has passed since they pursued the Wendigo, but neither party knows how much. They could only guess the time, and their silent celebration was far from silent. Please make him stop, Naruto pleaded as a bomb continued to recite material from monster movies and how it relates to their current situation. This is important information here, Patronus. You do well to heed my warnings. A bomb pouted before returning to his cell phone. Naruto sighed as Wolverine joined him in stride. Are you alright, kid? Patronus replied curtly, fine. How long? What? Wolverine was ready to ask his question when a bomb mentioned the alleged Wendigo King. Wendigo King? I've never heard of him. I believe I saw your Wendigo King up in the mountains in our last round, Hulk stated as Naruto nodded, having seen the creature as well. If he is the leader, we will track him down and smash him to pieces. Hard. She-Hulk turned to face her cousin. I like the sound of that. Apparently smashing runs in the family, Naruto mused until he, like the rest, came to a halt. They're finally here. Wolverine sniffed as he picked up a scent. Are several, everywhere, in fact. As the snarling and growling became louder, the group went backwards to cover each other's backs, but they couldn't find them anywhere. We can hear them, but they're not to the right, left, or above, so underground. A bomb exclaimed as numerous Wendigos emerged through the ground and attacked on them. She-Hulk blasted a shockwave gauntlet blast at a gang racing towards them as Red fired his stun cannon. Hulk punched through several of them, while Naruto used jujitsu to knock them out. A bomb transformed into a ball and ran over a handful of Wendigos, but more just kept coming after them with no end in sight. There's too many, Red exclaimed to his coworkers. Fall back. To the lifters, Hulk instructed everyone as they fled, with Patronus leading the way. Naruto turned around to see the Wendigos closing in on them. Doten, Dosakiryu. He hit the ground in front of him as the chakra poured into the soil, forcing it to rise and release a wave of snow rather than dirt, as the name implies. The chasing Wendigos became entangled in the growing wave-turned avalanche and were driven back away from their foes. Patronus laughed as he caught up with the lifter as it began its leisurely trek up the mountain. Phew. That was close. At least for now. Just in the nick of time, too, like in The Youngest Radiation Monster was interrupted by Red, who had his arms crossed. A horror film, we've got it. He's even grumpier than you, Hulk, Patronus said as Red stared at him and Hulk smirked slightly. Scar looked out the window and noticed Wendigo ascending the mountain slope to catch up with them. Wild beasts will follow. Scrape them off, Hulk shouted emphatically as Red and Scar fired at the Wendigo, knocking several of them over the mountain. A bomb groaned, clutching his head in his hands. Guys? What? An irritated She-Hulk inquired. Another rule that we forgot. Only rule number 5. The first guy who gets bitten never makes it, a bomb replied seriously, his eyes closed. When Naruto heard him, he thought, oh crap. We'll get you help, Rick, stated a concerned Hulk. Too late. Hulk grabbed for a bomb, but the latter spun around and revealed himself to be a Wendigo. Oh no, murmured the original monster before being punched to the other side by his converted buddy. Patronus had thrown 3 Wendigos from the lift, while Red and Scar had detained a bomb. We don't want to hurt you, kid, Red said to the howling A-bomb. Everybody up on the roof, Patronus exclaimed as the elevator was surrounded by leaping Wendigos. After Hulk blasted away with his wrist gauntlet, everyone else followed suit. When Wolverine observed a bomb following them, he kicked him in the head hard. Sorry about that, kid. Come on, Naruto said, realizing they were encircled by Wendigos. Blast them all, exclaimed the Hulks as they fired their weapons, knocking them from the lift. They just keep coming, retorted She-Hulk as she smacked a Wendigo before blasting at it. Red continued to fire at them while Patronus used Seikuken to shove Wendigos out of his radius before using Oshi-Eat to send them off the lift. Scar spotted a new group of their furry foes and hurled his metal boomerang at the howling one. That same Wendigo seized his boomerang in midair and glared at the owner before howling and severing the projectile in half. This isn't working, said She-Hulk as another Wendigo climbed up to her and slashed at her while she raised her gauntlets to shield herself. The Wendigo's claws had cut through them, much to her amazement. He cut right through my gauntlets. Wolverine punched one of his opponents before slipping under a charging one. He realized he was encircled and climbed up the connecting hand of the lift to the wires. This isn't improving. Hulks and Patronus, hold on to something. Wait, are you going to do what I think you're going to do? Naruto demanded angrily as Wolverine slashed the wires with his adamantium claws. The lift dropped all of the passengers, including pursued and pursuers, to the deepest section of the mountain. Naruto moaned as he looked up from his landing location afterwards. Hulk and Wolverine were nearby, but Red, Scar, and She-Hulk were not. Naruto doubted he would have survived even with Sage Mode if it hadn't been for the Nemean lion pelt and his considerably boosted durability, considering the height was at least 5 times that of Mount Myoboku's spires. If his luck had been on his side, he would have broken bones. Red, Jen, Scar, Hulk yelled, his voice echoing through the trees. Wolverine began to move, followed by Hulk and Patronus. Come on, we're better off without them. Hulk responded, no, I'm not leaving them. Hopefully they'll still be alive when we find them, Patronus added. The trio came to a halt as they heard snarls ahead of them from within a thick mist, as Wolverine had his claws out while Patronus and Hulk prepared themselves. Hulk and Naruto were taken aback when 4 pairs of eyes emerged from the mist alongside their bodies. Oh no, the SMH agents have turned into wendigos. We can see that, Big Greenie. No need to say it aloud, Patronus said as Wolverine gruffly chuckled. Hulk sighed with frustration. I'm not going to do anything to hurt my friends. They're no longer your friends, Hulk, Wolverine said, brandishing his claws once more. We've got no choice. Patronus made a shaky motion with his head. I'm afraid I'll have to disagree with you there, Wolfie. There's always a choice or better options. We just have to find them. Hulk smiled, as Wolverine hissed in displeasure. Come on, Hulks. Don't give in to your rage, Hulk told his transformed crew, but they didn't listen as their onslaught began on them. Hulk took a step back as Red and She-Hulk charged at him, while Scar chose Patronus as his enemy, leaving Wolverine with a bomb. The green behemoth escaped their strikes because he was afraid to fight back, putting him on the defensive, while Wolverine sliced at a bomb, who deflected his attack and clothes lined him into a tree. Scar swiped his swords at the hooded hero, who dodged or spun around each attack. As Scar's sword glided over, Naruto seized the hilt of Kagastune and held it crosswise, forcing the transformed Hulk to stumble past him. Haze. He would have finished the second phase of the method, but Scar could have died as a result of it. Scar hissed and charged towards Naruto, who had kicked up snow to blind him. Naruto swung around the bewildered Scar and hit him in the back of the head with Kogitsune's flat side, sending him tumbling over the snowy ground while Hulk hurled Red into She-Hulk as they tumbled into a heap. Wolverine jumped atop a bomb and twisted his body around, causing the blue furry Hulk to collide with a tree and crash land on the ground. He jumped to the downed Hulk and lifted his right claws for a downward thrust, but he was halted by a giant green hand. Enough, said Hulk. Wolverine, put your claws down, we need to find a cure. Get this through your thick skull, Hulk. There is no cure. Wolverine yanked his arm out from the grasp of the Hulk. A bomb regained consciousness and swiped his claws at Hulk while they were preoccupied. Gah, you little, Hulk hissed, grabbing and twirling a bomb around before releasing him to collide with Red and She-Hulk. Then a surge of intense pain entered his brain, driving him to grip it with his hands. The curse. Patronus jumped to the side of the Hulk and Wolverine. What exactly happened? As the Hulk Wendigos arrived, Wolverine replied, he got scratched. Hulk shouted angrily before destroying the slope with his bare hands. Patronus told him, easy, Hulk, you'll shatter the mountain. Hulk said, much to Naruto's astonishment, that's the idea. The mountain pinnacle erupted as a result of Hulk's strong strikes. It was called an avalanche, and it came straight for them. Hulk dragged Naruto under his arm with Wolverine in the other as the strongest there is launched in a great jump to a hill that was out of the avalanche's course. When they were clear, Wolverine turned to face his old adversary. It's the Hulk I've been looking for, and the ice will slow them down. But I don't have much time, Hulk said. We have to get moving. Then let's get moving, Patronus urged as the Hulk soared towards the Wendigo's final location. The trio would have noticed a lone blue arm emerge out of the ice with a clenched fist if they had stayed a little longer. TTIIPMX TTIIPMX TTIIPM Deep Mountain, Wendigo Lair. They used their various skills to follow the traces Naruto and Wolverine discovered. The tracks lead to an abandoned mining shaft marked by a symbol. It reminded Patronus of the Wendigo King's jewelry. If you wanted his furry highness, get ready to be his chew toy, Wolverine quipped, drawing a snort from Naruto. Hulk, on the other hand, was dissatisfied. Really? You're going to go with that? As they entered the mine lair, Patronus observed, it's funny, Hulk. You've got to admit it. The three of heroes proceeded carefully into the dark tunnel, illuminated only by the faint beams of the winter moon. It was sufficient for them to use, as they noticed numerous skeletons of various species littering on both sides of the tunnel. They ultimately arrived at a location with enough space for them to fight comfortably. And the Wendigo is included in this as well. Nods were exchanged before the group quickly dispatched the initial wave of Wendigo and withdrew further into the lair. The heroes followed them along the same road till they came upon another place with more space this time, along with their main goal. The Wendigo King stood before them, surrounded by his changed horde, his eyes shone blazing red, while Hulk's was dull in comparison to their unknown. Green Beast. Come into the light, you and your world will be marked by the beast. Forever. Growled the king with delight. Wolverine drew his claws before leaping at the Wendigo King, saying, "No thanks, Fido." As the mutant stayed cautious, the creature changed into mist and escaped his attack. Naruto observed as he sensed nasty impulses spreading around the room until they centered behind Wolverine. "My power comes from another world, and you will suffer as a result." Wendigo King dissolved his form to dodge Wolverine's claw swipe and solidified his body to punch the mutant away. He repeated the motion to reach the downed Wolverine before hurling him against a skeletal pillar and felling it. Patronus and Hulk charged together, punching or kicking away the lesser Wendigo before reaching the King. The Hulk was the first to act, leaping at King with a downward punch, but like Wolverine, the hairy creature rematerialized behind the green behemoth, snatched him up, and threw him into a larger mound of skeletons. Naruto grasped the King's tail and swung him around several times before releasing his grip. Hulk leapt out of the pile at the same time the ninja's grasp released King, delivering a haymaker that sent him reeling across the ground. As Wendigo King rose to his knees and glanced at Hulk, the two heroes stood ready. "You can be a Wendigo." Hulk squinted before grunting in pain as his body transformed into green fur, sharp teeth, and horns on his forehead, his hands on his head. "Hulk!" Naruto yelled at the smirking Wendigo, who had just mentioned the so-called age of the Wendigo. "Not while I'm here," he exclaimed, then vanished and reappeared behind the surprised Wendigo King, kicking him away. "Where do you think you're going?" Naruto materialized sideways of the midair Wendigo and struck him hard into a wall with another Shunshine. The ninja saw the jewel necklace as soon as he landed. "That must be the source of his power. If I destroy it, the others will return to normal." "All right, then." With a clawed finger, the Wendigo King sneered at Patronus. "Death." His men charged and pounced on the hooded Naruto, but he was too fast and agile for them, charging right for King. "Maggot." He swung his natural claws at Patronus, but he vanished moments afterwards. He soon found himself encircled by Naruto images, blocking off any escape route. The Bunshin method he learned from Hayato Furinji in the previous dimension proved invaluable because it required only speed and expertise. Naruto came to a halt in front of the Wendigo King and slashed the jeweled necklace with his hidden blade, putting an end to the flickering clones. The Wendigo King howled in agony as Naruto pressed his adamantine sword deeper into the necklace until the force pulled him back. Crimson-red ghost heads flew over the place while their jailer howled as loudly as he could until his body vanished, leaving behind the broken jewel. Naruto observed all of the Wendigos, including the Hulks, as they reverted to their regular selves. One woman shrieked in terror when she spotted Hulk as a Wendigo, a monster. "Take it easy there," Patronus murmured to the woman as Hulk shifted back. "That's the Hulk." Spotlights from the sky shone down on them as they walked out of the mine with the survivors. The lights blinded Naruto, Hulk, the agents, and Wolverine until they heard the unmistakable noise. When the vehicles landed in front of them, the disguised ninja and green behemoth sighed as they recognized the emblem on their hull. "Ah, it's those shield chumps," grumbled Wolverine until he observed Patronus fidgeting in place. "What's the matter, Hoodie? Did the cold get to you, or are you afraid of the boys in blue?" The mutant then received one of the harshest punches he had ever received. In the distance, the crowd saw the renowned yellow-brown costumed X-Man flying high in the air. They then heard a bang, which signaled a landing, before their gaze was drawn to Patronus, whose arm was in an uppercut action. Naruto tilted his head in puzzlement at the staring audience, as if he had done something wrong. "What? I've been wanting to punch the guy all night for that remark," Patronus responded. "I didn't know him at the time, and he had already pushed all of my buttons." Hulk directed his finger towards him. "Thank you. I'm not the only one who thinks that." He raised his hand for a high five, which Patronus gave him. Naruto breathed after turning off Sage Mode. He could put Wolverine through one of the shield jets in his base form, but the idea of giving his punch extra punch with natural energy for the regenerating mutant was especially humorous to him, and evidently to Hulk and Red. With everyone secure in the hands of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the agents providing statements, Naruto hid behind a tree and Hiroshine returned home. "Hey, where's Patronus?" A bomb asked, his voice childish. "I wanted to get his autograph." Hulk and his cousin sighed at the blue-skinned agent, but they, too, were curious about the whereabouts of the Bostonian hero until they discovered that there was clearly more to Patronus than meets the eye. TTIIPMXTTIIPMXTTIIPM Uzumaki Manor in the Homestead Grounds. Massachusetts, United States of America, is forested. Happy Thanksgiving! Exclaimed the entire Uzumaki clan as the twins cooed with their family. After Naruto had just arrived in time for the feast, the clan's ladies had spent the entire day preparing the traditional festival foods. Because the twins were still little, neither of them saw the animosity in the room, which was all directed towards the clan's father. Naruto grinned at his wife's glares because he was meant to assist them with the cooking via clones. Girls? They all turned their heads away from him before turning around in front of the curious twins with smiles on their faces. Naruto moaned despondently as Kurama and Ashura laughed at their friend's current misery, despite the fact that they knew the girls would not be upset for long in the bedroom hours from now, until they can eat the delectable meals that have been prepared for them. Itadakimasu. As time passed, the city of Boston was bustling with joyous grace and enjoyment as one of the most prolific and celebrated holidays in most countries approached. It was Christmas, and no one was more excited than Naruto, who jumped from building to building, flipping and showboating to show his cheerful support for the occasion. His upbeat mood was shattered as he heard the familiar melody of a pursuing Boston PD squad car. Why don't criminals take the day off too? Naruto muttered before changing direction towards the siren. It didn't take long for him to catch up with the chasing vehicle and spot the fleeing counterpart approximately 3 vehicles length distant. When he noticed people crossing the junction ahead, he increased his speed with a shunshine while Patronus reappeared in front of the racing car and threw shuriken at the 4 wheels. As the driver attempted to restore control, the tires blew out, causing the vehicle to stumble slightly. Doden. Spikero. When the car's engine was wounded by a spear protruding from the ground, the criminals inside grunted in pain. They looked up in terror as they spotted a waving Patronus as the two swiftly exited their automobile and put themselves on the ground. "We surrender," they yelled, because the hero's reputation was terrifying and no one in the criminal world knew anything about him. To them, he was a ghost. The Ghost of Boston, as they dubbed him. "Ah, at least make it amusing," Patronus groaned as he tied zip ties over the crook's wrists. Naruto disappeared into an alley and climbed up the building till he heard a beep from his right arm after the cops hauled them into prison in a pair of farewells. He drew his sleeve back to show a device clinging to the hidden blade bracer on the side facing him, where he saw a message for him. "Looks like I got a message." The device resembled the shield device he wore on Yamatai Island, except Sky constructed it herself with some assistance from Horizon Labs' latest software, which she purchased during Thanksgiving week. It contained the most advanced technologies in the world, such as satellite photos, the police frequency, and GPS, to assist him on his hero patrols. "Looks like I'm going to the museum." TTIIPMXTTIIPMXTTIIPM. The Boston Museum of Fine Arts and Antiquities. "So why am I here, curator?" Patronus inquired of the elderly guy dressed in a gray suit and a red Santa hat. As he spoke to the hero, the curator turned around. "Your reputation precedes you in this city, Patronus. Criminals have been hiding in their dens since you arrived a long time ago. Honestly, I believe you are the best security measure." Security measure? Patronus pouted little since he disliked being referred to as a thing. "No offense, but it's the Christmas holiday, curator. I would not ask for your assistance unless it was absolutely necessary," the curator stated solemnly as he led the local hero to the main center, where a picture was guarded by 2 buff security guards in suits and pistols. This was once a painting that was forever lost to history. Naruto examined the artwork and was astounded by the detailed depiction of strong emotions in colors. The major section of the painting depicted 4 men riding on their horses fighting for a battle banner. "I'm not into painting or art, but I have to admit, this is powerful. The Lost Leonardo, as it is colloquially known, but its true name is the Battle of Anghiari," the curator stated before going into the facts about the missing artwork, and the more Naruto listened, the more interested he became in the painting as he peered at the centuries-old painting. Patronus nodded, realizing the painting's obvious value, which is priceless. "As a result, you want me to make certain that the painting does not fall into the hands of those seeking to acquire it illegally. And you'll be thoroughly compensated for it," the curator said, emphasizing the term compensated. "Please wait until the exhibition is over on Christmas Eve." Patronus thought about it for 10 minutes before deciding to assist the curator, who was overjoyed with his response. Naruto sought to be excused to make security preparations and found himself on the roof, making sure no one was watching or listening to him. Before speaking to it, he took a crystal skull and pressed the soft pentagon-shaped bulge on the forehead. "Girls? Are you there?" he inquired before turning off his wrist computer and earbuds. "Hubby." Naruto laughed at Kuroka's voice, knowing she missed him. "When are you coming back? I need my hubby pillow to cuddle with." He heard things jumbled about the skull, followed by a terrible cry, and finally a new voice belonging to the group's mother. "Patronus, continue your patrol, but return in time for the holidays. We all miss you," Ria remarked eloquently to her husband, as Naruto grinned at her words and sighed nervously. "Something's happened, huh? What makes you say that?" Naruto gulped as he realized he was almost figured out. Naruto. When Ria used her commanding voice on Naruto, he gulped. When she became concerned for him, probably due to her motherly personality, he was practically powerless against her. As a result, he had no choice but to tell her the truth about being hired by the director of the museum to protect the lost Leonardo. Naruto had to silence the phone because Ria screamed with delight and ranted about her want to view Leonardo's lost work. "I take it you like his work," Naruto said once Ria had cooled down and resumed her motherly tone. "Of course. Such a wonderful man, though it was a shame to learn of his preference." "Preference? There's nothing you need to be concerned about since I met you and fell in love. What is the penalty for destroying a priceless artwork?" Naruto inquired, his jealousy rising somewhat as Ria chuckled through the skull. He sighed, having been persuaded not to destroy the artwork by her appeals. I won't. Besides, I'll keep a clone here for 3 days and then watch the exhibition on the last day. There's no way I'm missing Christmas with you girls and the kids." "You're a wonderful husband. We're lucky to have you, and I know the kids love having you as their father. I'll see you later tonight, okay? Love you." Naruto stuffed the crystal skull into one of his cloak's many seals and produced a clone to take his place as he left the museum for one last round of patrol before returning home. A shriek reached Naruto's ears as he effortlessly leapt from building to building, and he changed directions on a pivoting foot. When the ninja arrived, he observed a gathering of shady-clothed men encircling a woman in her 20s. "Not today," he said, dropping from the roof and landing on one of the guys. And his pals were both shocked and terrified. "Oh crap, it's Patronus." "Hello, boys." As she stared at Patronus, the men's would-be victims shuddered every time he hit, kicked, or noogied their attackers. Naruto turned to face the woman, saying, "He reminds me of my husband." "Are you all right, miss?" he asked, taken aback by the woman's appearance. She was shorter than him, but her body had the graceful development of a peak woman, with lush red hair and emerald eyes that reminded him of Ria, despite the fact that her garments were covered by a soft green jacket. "I'm fine, thanks," she said, inspecting Patronus' clothes and weaponry. "Who are you supposed to be, a ninja or something?" "Something," Naruto replied before activating the wrist computer and alerting the Boston Police Department of the intended crime. He disconnected the link once he received approval for the patrol car. "Police will be here shortly, miss. Have a wonderful Christmas." "Why do you do it?" Patronus came to a halt as he glanced at the conflicted woman. "Do what? Why do you want to be a hero?" she inquired once more. "Honestly, I'd prefer it. I've always wanted to be a hero, and I have the skills to help people. It's as simple as that." "But doesn't it conflict with your personal life? With your family? With your friends?" Patronus paused for a time to consider it. "No, there are moments of tension and frustration, but we always work it out," he said, looking at the woman. "I take it you know someone in the business? A family member or a colleague?" Her silence was his reluctant positive response. "I see." The redhead said, leaning against the wall opposite Patronus. "There were times when it got to us, but the last event involving his heroism, I just couldn't take it any longer, so I left him and moved to the West Coast for a while." "So, you're married to him?" The woman shuddered and regretted herself for revealing her marital status. Patronus pledged with his hand over his heart, "Relax, I won't say anything to anyone, promise." "You got divorced from him?" "Separated is a better word." "I see. It was fine at first, but lately I've started feeling lonely and out of place," she moaned profoundly. "I want to go back to him, but I'm not sure if he'll accept me. I abandoned him, but I don't want to go through it again. What should I do?" Patronus crossed his arms as he pondered this critical matter. He and his wives had never had any issues with his hero character because he created clones to take his place and time to spend with them, but this was the first time he faced any marriage-related issues. It could spell the difference between the woman's marriage to her unknown hero husband succeeding or failing. I guess it all boils down to one question, Miss, Naruto replied, pausing before asking, do you love him? Of course I do. Then you have your answer, Patronus said, his head perking up as he heard sirens nearby. The cops have arrived. Take care of yourself, and have a Merry Christmas. As the woman saw the hero expertly climb to the roof and then vanish, she noticed a Boston police officer approaching her while his colleagues picked up the downed crooks. Are you all right, ma'am? She said, nodding. May I ask for your name for the report? Parker. Mary Jane Watson Parker, she says. TTIIPMX TTIIPMX TTIIPM. Christmas Eve, 2 days later, a young blonde woman, among the many tourists and people who were in awe of the lost Leonardo, peered at the famed painting with a subtle concentrated glance before they flickered throughout the room. They switched between the guards, cameras, and exits leading to various halls. She was inspecting the room, and the entire museum, in fact, as the gift on her Christmas list hung in front of her. She and her father had always longed to uncover the lost Leonardo, in addition to the lost Michelangelo companion, and now it was right in front of her. But it would be unprofessional of her to take it without extreme caution and meticulous planning, especially given the possibility of competition for the artwork. It's a marvel, Felicia said calmly to the person who walked and stood next to her. She discovered a young man with blonde hair like hers, blue eyes like the deep blue ocean, and a pleasant aura around him. Though I'm not entirely sure why. Are you a fan of art or a student? The man casually shook his head. I never really got into art, but this painting here, he pointed to the missing artwork. I don't know, but something about it intrigues me. Art does that to people, even if they aren't initially interested, Felicia said gently. What's going on here? She had never had a conversation with a man unless she was plotting a robbery and wanted to seduce the owner as part of her scheme. Spider-Man and the hooded hero from Boston, Patronus, were two of the only guys with whom she spoke without hidden purposes. Would you buy this painting if you had the chance? Naruto wore a thoughtful expression and pondered it for 2 minutes. Yeah, I would. I'd be lying if I said it wouldn't look great on my bedroom wall. He imagined the picture hanging above his bed in his master bedroom. Pleased to meet you, Naruto, he said, offering Felicia his hand. The cat-themed burglar paused before meeting her palm with his, and that's when she felt it. A warm jolt traveled from his hand to her shoulder. He was taken aback by the exquisite beauty of his fellow blonde as the disguised ninja because he had not expected to meet someone like her during his discreet scouting inside the museum. Felicia shook his hand many times before releasing it. Felicia. Well, it was nice talking with you, but I have to get going. No problem. See you later, Naruto said as he walked away, leaving Felicia perplexed. It wasn't long until he felt a hand on his shoulder and turned around to see Felicia. Is there something wrong? Is that all there is to it? What exactly is it? You're not going to ask me for my phone number or a date? No, why not? Felicia asked hastily, because you're uncomfortable about it. No, I wasn't. Yes, you were. No, yes. No, yes. Their little verbal disagreement drew attention, but it was cut short as a tremendous thunderclap sounded through the halls and the room rocked. Naruto assisted Felicia to her feet and hurried with her through the panicked crowd to the nearest escape until he tripped on the floor. Felicia went back to hunt for him but saw no trace of him, leaving her with no choice but to postpone her heist until the heat subsided. Or she could use this to her advantage. Ah, look at this painting, the masked man said, his 20 men guarding the exits around the showcase room and removing other significant paintings and statues from their pedestals, forcing them into the vans that protruded in the main room. I've been looking for this painting for years, and I finally have it in my hands. That's the last of them, boss, I say, and we're ready to go. Oh yes, very good, Dominus, the boss said, blinking as he couldn't place the voice behind him. At best, it sounded guttural. Dominus, are you okay? Sure thing, Caesar. Ah, okay. Caesar raised his arms to take the artwork, but instead went for his revolver and pointed it after turning around. However, his gun-wielding arm was stopped in the middle by a separate hand before Caesar felt an unfathomable jolt in his torso and blackness enveloped his vision. Man, I'm too strong, Patronus grumbled as he carried the unconscious Caesar to the tied-up soldiers near the vans, looking at the Battle of Anghiari. It didn't take long for him to hear sirens and then the Boston Police Department's squad cars. Over here, gentlemen, he said, directing some police to the citizens while another squad stayed with the criminals and the last few officers followed Patronus back to the display room. Sergeant Wilson stated rather than asked, the room is secured, I take it, as Patronus nodded and turned around to face him. Honestly, you're making us look bad out there, he joked as Naruto giggled with the 15-year veteran until his eyes caught sight of something strange, and it was behind the hero. Patronus? Says the narrator. Yeah. Where's the painting? What are you talking about, Surge? It's there, Naruto said, pointing over his shoulder. Wilson motioned for him to turn around, and the ninja obliged, but his cheerful demeanor had become sour. Oh, crap. The painting was gone, as was the curator who had visited moments before to check on it. TTIIPMXTTIIPMXTTIIPM, after 5 minutes, that was so easy. With the lost Leonardo on her back, a cheerful black cat leapt from rooftop to rooftop. Her father taught her everything she knew about thievery, but compromise was key, which included her bold approach right now. And to think she did it directly in front of Patronus's eyes. Now I just need to get to the safe house and I'll be fine. Really now? And what are you going to do after? Take a bath, then stare at the painting with a glass of wine in. Black Cat shifted her head to the right, where she noticed an aerial Patronus teasing her in the Burt Reynolds pose. How? She had a 5-minute head start on the hero, and yet he was right there with her. Shouldn't your back be bothering you? My back? No. She reached for the artwork but couldn't reach its frame because it was on her back. Her gaze was drawn to Patronus, who had landed on the roof with her and was holding the lost Leonardo. Do you realize how much you irritate me? I'm hurt. Patronus exclaimed mockingly before leaping back to avoid a thrust strike from Black Cat. Haha, you can't touch me, he mocked as he landed on a pile of boxes, which broke beneath his weight. Wah. As she lightly caught the picture in her hands, Black Cat chuckled. I didn't have to. Felicia let go of the picture as she went towards the edge of the roof. The cat-themed thief looked up and noticed a small wire wrapped around her right foot, then followed the end of it wrapped around Naruto's left hand as he grabbed the artwork with his free hand. Yeah, what was that? It was like something messed with the area. Naruto felt a very delicate pull in the region, so subtle that he almost missed it. It was bizarre, yet he was in a dimension full of people with strange abilities that could be classified as Kekai Genkai in his native world. It sounds like you have a bit of bad luck, Patronus, Black Cat joked before swiping the wire with her claws and leaping for the hooded hero, who had sealed away the artwork for safekeeping inside his robe as he flipped away for safety. Patronus simply hummed as he landed safely this time, escaping Black Cat's blows and attacks. As Black Cat was about to follow up with a headbutt, he seized her knee and opposite left fist till a boom sound diverted their attention away from their fight. Looks like we'll have to continue another time, Black Cat, he said as he slipped away from Black Cat's limbs and threw a smoke grenade between them. Black Cat coughed behind her left hand while waving the smoke away from her. When the smoke cleared, she searched around for the cloaked hero, but he was gone. Fortunately for her, heroes are fairly predictable, and she knows where Patronus will appear next. I'm not losing this to anyone. TTIIPMXTTIIPMXTTIIPM. Crash location: Boston is a city in Massachusetts. Sneaking inside the building through the hole in the roof was simple enough, but Naruto had not expected something like this. An individual lay face down, wearing a brown jacket, with crushed steel beams and boxes beneath. Whistle, how high did you fall? He asked the unconscious guy, peering through the hole at the wintry night. Naruto expected no response from the individual who had crash-landed through a structure. The box, the individual muttered softly, coughing, take it. Patronus looked about and discovered a red-black bow with a ribbon, reminiscent of a Christmas present. This box? What's so special about this box? Let me see it, Black Cat demanded as she jumped on Patronus and this time landed on him. As the box changed hands several times, both the hero and the anti-hero rolled around on the floor until Felicia emerged victorious. As Naruto was on his knees, staring at the package, she stood up. What's going on in here? Don't open it, shouted the person, but it was too late for Black Cat had already opened it. Patronus observed the inside of the box emitting a bright green light that reflected off Black Cat's face. He noticed her eyes dilated and an unexpected happy smile imprinted on her lips at that moment. Kuroniko, are you okay? He inquired as he approached the woman and reached for the package. Rawr. Patronus whirled his body out of the way of Black Cat's surprise claw blow, quickly backing away from her vicious bombardment. Cat, knock it off, he said, looking at the box and swiftly kicking it out of her grasp, which worked since her barrage stopped moments afterwards. Wha? Felicia asked, shaking her head and rubbing her temple. What exactly happened? You went feral, Naruto replied, holding the closed box away from her. By this box, he said, turning to face the guy who knew something about the object. You've got some explaining to do. When the person finally rolled over, both costumed beings gasped. He wore a brown jacket over red shirts and light green slacks and had white skin, a full white beard and mustache, and his hair was tied in a ponytail. When he saw them, he exclaimed, "Oh no, not you too." "Who are you?" inquired Patronus. "I'm Santa." "What? Santa Claus?" Black Cat was perplexed. Santa threw up his arms. He argued, "No, Santa McMurphy. Yes, Santa Claus," before cringing in pain. "No way. You can't be Santa Claus. He's got rosy cheeks," Black Cat observed before realizing what she had said. "Yeah, your cheeks are bruise-colored," Patronus admitted. After taking a sniff of the air, Black Cat had an uneasy expression. "And you smell like you've stepped in something." "Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you," Santa said sternly. "But I was just shot at, fell 3,500 feet, and crashed through a building," he muttered, clutching his stomach where bullet holes were visible. "Besides, all of that other nonsense was made up by advertising firms. Trust me, I'm the real Santa Claus." Patronus and Black Cat exchanged puzzled stares before the latter questioned, "Prove it." "Grown okay," Santa said, lifting himself up slightly with his elbows. "You're both Patronus and Black Cat, and I won't say anything about your identities," he added, surprising the audience. "When you were a little girl, all you wanted was your father to be home for Christmas and read you your favorite bedtime story, The Cat in the Hat." Felicia was taken aback by the precise knowledge as Santa moved his eyes to Naruto. "For you. Why is ramen the only thing that matters to you? It's a very unhealthy food." It took all of the Jinchuriki's self-control not to pounce on the apparently real Christmas figurine that had fallen. "So you really are Santa," he marveled. "What happened to you, and what's inside the box?" Naruto lifted the box to show the three of them. "Actually, it's not what's inside the box that matters, but the box itself." Santa removed a jewel from his pocket, and an ethereal mirror of sorts emerged in front of them, revealing a vast village pulsating with activity. "You can see how it all started a few months ago." The picture in the mirror moved like water until it centered on small beings dressed in green garments and wearing caps with long ears, elves. Naruto and Felicia looked into the mirror, which focused on a cleaner Santa in a red shirt and brown pants being approached by a tall elf. "I was approached by my lead toy designer, Quilgan, who was excited about a breakthrough he made on his life's work." The former Santa examined Quilgan's recipe. The concept was simple: an empty box that, when opened, would give the child they desired the most. However, I had no idea the key component was dark magic. "I have a feeling you discovered it the hard way." Patronus and Black Cat continued to watch as the mirror's picture shifted to Santa and Quilgan examining a family behind a mirror. Santa gave a nod. "We used a focus group to test how it would work in a Christmas morning scenario," said the hero, who cringed when he witnessed what happened. The family of four began fighting over the lighted box. Things got ugly. The box had power over people, bringing out the worst in them. I ordered the box to be locked away and all work related to it to be destroyed. The mirror changed once again to show the bow being locked in the vault, followed by past Quilgan's laboratory exploding in flames, with past Santa presiding from outside. Previous Quilgan attempted to stop the destruction, but previous Santa shoved him aside, forcing the enraged elf to flee in embarrassment. "But I should have known he'd come back for it then," Santa said, putting the jewel away and pointing to the two children. "The box is now in your hands, you must destroy it. If Quilgan obtains it, he will use its power to obtain what he desires most: the annihilation of Christmas forever." "Christmas gone forever?" Patronus wondered before turning to look at Black Cat and then at Santa. "Don't worry, Santa, Black Cat and I will take care of it." Black Cat shifted her gaze away from the ninja, as if he had insulted her. "Excuse me? Who do you think you are? I'm not doing this for free." "But it's Christmas, Kuroniko," Patronus grumbled. "Feel the spirit, especially with Santa here," he exclaimed, motioning to the groaning Santa. "Forgot about it then. Come on, Cat," says the owner. Santa sighed dejectedly. "Why did I have to land in this city? All right, Black Cat, I'll give you a gift from my personal collection." "Private collection?" Black Cat enthused. Patronus made a shaky motion with his head. "For shame, woman, for shame." After placing the box down, he and Black Cat approached Santa and attempted to pull him up, but he sobbed in anguish, compelling them to abandon their efforts. "Forget about me. Just go and destroy the box. It's the most important thing to do right now." Santa felt their hands slip away from him. Quilgan won't stop until he gets it. He closed his eyes and dozed off. "Santa?" Patronus inquired, alarmed. "He passed out," Black Cat murmured, looking at the box and grabbing an axe nearby. "Let's destroy it right here and right now." "Wait," Patronus cautioned, but it was too late. Black Cat swung the axe right at the box, only to be repelled by the formidable defenders. Patronus Sunshine appeared in the trajectory and caught her before she hit the wall. "You okay?" "Yeah. Better than that axe, though," Felicia replied, pointing to the fractured halves. Patronus nodded and helped Black Cat to her feet. "Yeah, better you than that." He then took up the box as his senses noticed the malignant black energy around the present. "Do you have any ideas on how to destroy this thing?" "You're asking me?" Black Cat sarcastically asked. "Yeah, because we're working on this together," Patronus replied simply before approaching the unconscious Santa and grabbing his jacket, shaking him like a doll to wake him up. "Santa, please tell us how to destroy this thing." As sweat drops poured down the two associates' heads, his only answer was a snort. "Well, he's got the jolly part down," Black Cat said casually. Then an idea occurred to her. "I have something that will completely destroy the box." "Shoot. We destroy it in a vault of hot, molten lava." "Really?" "Yes, I heard it was one of the methods for destroying evil artifacts." Patronus shook his head, uncertain about this. "Are you sure about this?" he asked, striking a contemplative attitude. "Come to think of it, why does this sound familiar to me? Have I read it somewhere?" He touched his head, but Felicia stopped him afterwards. "Do you want to destroy this thing or not?" Black Cat demanded quickly, hoping her hooded companion didn't notice her slightly flushed cheeks. "So, where exactly are we going to find a volcano around here?" "I know where it is, but it's quite far away." "How far?" "Have you ever been to a Shinto temple?" TTIIPMXTTIIPMXTTIIPM. Inari Fushimi Taishi Fushimi, Inariyama, and Kyoto. Japan's Honshu Island Inari, the fox deity, hummed contentedly while his numerous adoptive messengers played with each other like children. His Parthenon and the yokai all around enjoyed the Christmas spirit, especially as the indigenous community presented thanks and gifts to the spirits for the year and, perhaps, the new year as well. A burning blue circle in the center of the temple disrupted the tranquil ambiance he and his kitsune messengers were enjoying. As he recognized the flames, Inari hummed. So, he discovered the sword's teleportation abilities. At the very least, he's coming by to greet us for the holiday, and he's brought a guest this time. What was that? Hey, keep your voice down. We're in a temple, so show respect, Patronus reprimanded as he sheathed Kogitsune and bowed to Inari. Merry Christmas, Lord Inari Okami. Merry Christmas, Patronus, Inari said to the woman next to him. May I also ask for the name of your stunning colleague? The elderly man's inquiry caught Black Cat off guard, but he had to acknowledge he was brave. Black Cat. Ah, the thief. I recall someone by that name attempting to steal the regalia from Amaterasu's temple in Tokyo a couple years back. Inari chuckled knowingly as Patronus gaped at an embarrassed Black Cat who found the ground quite interesting. You have guts, my dear, but sadly for you, they were not there. Say what? Both visitors asked at the same time. Inari feigned not to hear what they were saying and replied, so, what can I do for you too? Can we borrow your volcano? Say what now? Inari inquired as his turn approached. Naruto revealed what happened between Santa Claus and the rogue elf Quilgan, as well as the evil box they were carrying, and their arrival in his temple. I see, but as much as I want to destroy the box myself, I cannot. Why not? Says one. Because it's Christmas, Patronus exclaimed, as Black Cat looked puzzled. Even deities take vacations from our duties. Naruto regained consciousness. Seriously? I'm afraid so, but that doesn't mean I won't let you use my mountain, Inari said, opening a gateway to the cliffs of his Nameake mountain. Good luck, and I hope you enjoy your holiday weekend as well. Patronus bowed in thanks. Thank you, Inari Okami, Black Cat said quietly before following her colleague through the portal. TTIIPMXTTIIPMXTTIIPM Japan's skyscrapers. Quilgan grinned as his tracking device alerted him to the precise location of his life's labor. He yanked on the reins to steer the reindeer in a new direction toward his present. Christmas, and Santa Claus with it, will be demolished soon. For those who were foolish enough to assist Santa, he has a couple of surprises in the bag behind him. Hey, elf dork. Get me out of here, I'm hungry for chimichangas. Although he may regret hiring the mercenary, the latter is the finest at what he does, which is mayhem. TTIIPMXTTIIPMXTTIIPM. The Inariyama summit. Naruto heaved himself over the cliff edge before turning around and pulling Black Cat up as she trembled visibly under his borrowed coat. You okay? I'm fine, Felicia said as she followed him to the top. Your body language says otherwise. Shut up. Meow. Patronus parodied her theme until he came to a halt. We've got some company. Black Cat tensed in anticipation. Where? Up. As a bag was flung off and fell in front of the two associates, the rapid flying item sailed above them. Patronus shifted the red bag within as he stood in front of Black Cat to protect her from whatever peril was in front of them. All right, where the hell is that freaking elf lord? He interrupted my chimichanga time. Oh no, whispered Black Cat with terror. Not him. Patronus gave her a look. Do you know who that is? He's well known in all communities around the world, and he has a mouth that never stops talking. That sounds annoying. You have no idea. She remembered working with him in Spider-Man a while back, and by the end of it, she wanted to blast off her ears. The bag opened to show a man of comparable height to Naruto, dressed in a red and black bodysuit with white eyes and two swords forming a X on his back. Are you related to that long-eared bastard? Too late. Crap. Naruto yelled as he dropped the box and crossed his arms to deflect the costumed man's flying kick. Cat, go get the box and destroy it. I'll keep him busy. As he drew his swords against Patronus, the masked man's face was engraved with a crazed expression. Keep me busy? What are you, a gay? Patronus retorted with Kogitsune, huh. Imagine his surprise when the blades of the red man did not crack against his own. Are they made of some kind of special metal? They certainly are. That was simple, a shocked Naruto remarked before witnessing Black Cat going for the summit with the item in her hands. Mind telling me what they are? I could tell you, but I'd have to murder you. This guy sounds like he belongs in a psychiatric ward. The opposite swordsman stepped back, seeming irritated. You were just thinking that I belonged in the psych ward. How did you know? Patronus exclaimed, stunned. Because I am the merc with a mouth. Deadpool. Who? It was now Deadpool's turn to face fault on the ground. And then gather himself a second later. I guess I'll have to teach you who I am. Ah, shit. TTIIPMXTTIIPMXTTIIPM, after 5 minutes. Shit. Exclaimed Black Cat as she leapt over a big snowball that threatened to roll over her. This is absolutely not worth it. Why? It could be related to the giant snow-like animals who stood in her way, flinging massive snowballs at her. To evade the white bullets, she dodged, rolled, pounced, and twisted all over the place until she sought temporary refuge behind a boulder that functioned as a shield. This isn't worth it. Felicia recognized the neighboring trees and skillfully hopped on the branches just as the snow beasts closed in on her previous place. All right, just keep quiet and wait for them to pass. Her strategy was ruined when something or someone dropped in a pile of snow nearby, attracting the attention of both Black Cat and the snow creatures. It was also ideal timing, as Patronus dispatched the beasts with 2 elbow blows and a backhand. Abominable snowmen, he exclaimed, as blue flames danced around Kogitsun's blade. You're in awe of those things? They just tried to run me over with massive snowballs. Black Cat slapped Patronus on the back of the head, eliciting a painful shriek. Naruto gazed at her, stunned. Is that how you thank someone who saved your life? Yes. Deadpool sung, Hoodman and Cat sitting in a tree kissing, as he perched on a neighboring tree after digging himself out of the snow, garnering glares from the two. Love comes first, then marriage, then divorce after Cat cheats. We're not married, the two exclaimed defiantly. Then I can easily kill you too, Deadpool said, wrapping his legs around a branch and shooting himself towards the two. Patronus stood in front of Deadpool, waiting for an opportunity to employ one of the techniques he had acquired from the Sage of Six Paths. Deadpool, on the other hand, had his swords drawn and was spinning around like a missile. Naruto focused his energy on the ground to help them. Doiken, says the narrator. The Deadpool missile groaned as it collided with the earth-composed structure. Hey, that's not fair. Patronus retorted, all's fair in battle, before blocking Deadpool's sword when the latter vaulted over the dirt barricade. The red mercenary swung his secondary blade, but it was met with the ninja's pivot blade. The swordsman launched a torrent of clashing blades, giving Black Cat time to maneuver past them as she raced to the peak, where the heat of the hot lava could be felt as she approached. Bang! Black Cat rolled out of the way as she barely felt the attack and recognized the elf from the mirror. Quilgan, I thought you'd be a small elf. Hand me the box, and I'll spare your lives. Tempting, but I like Christmas, Black Cat said as she fiddled with the package in her hands. Plus, it won't do me any good if I fail and don't get anything from Santa's private collection. Very well then, I'll just have Santa bring you your gift right now, Quilgan said as a snowy gateway emerged behind him. In fact, there he is. Black Cat took a couple steps back, taken aback by the newcomer. It appeared to be Santa, but she knew it wasn't him after seeing the genuine thing. With a pale blue face, lengthy arms, and yellow-white hair, he was taller than herself, Patronus, Deadpool, and Quilgan together. The crimson strabismic eyes gazed at her despite the fact that they didn't look it, and the spiky mustache and beard further detracted from the cheery image as she was disturbed by the big battle axe in its hands. Nicholas the Renegade. My personal slave version of Jolly Santa, Quilgan grumbled before pointing his finger at his adversary. Dissection her. Felicia dodged the axe strike, then pounced on Krampus' leg and whirled around to throw a roundhouse kick. It had no effect, and she had to backflip numerous times to dodge successive swings. She screamed as something grabbed her and brought her face to face with one of the snow bunny-like animals, whose maw opened to expose rows of razor teeth. Now that's not very nice. Felicia saw Patronus' fiery sword sever the arm that held her before sending the creature flying away with a strange flashing blue sphere. She got caught on his shoulder, much to her chagrin. Thanks. You're welcome, Patronus began, but his sentence was cut short when Renegade swung his axe and forced him to block the hit. Hey, I was just thanking a friend here. Renegade grabbed his axe for another attack, and Quilgan grinned gleefully. Renegade is made of the same dark magic that I used to make the box, so your efforts are futile. He was proven wrong as Kogitsune cut his creation in half and Renegade faded into oblivion in the flames. Patronus was on his way to confront the leader when he noticed something out of the corner of his eye. The box was the culprit. When he turned around, he saw a severed Deadpool battling with Black Cat, his legs propped up against a tree, as if enjoying the show. All I ever wanted was to make Santa proud and relieve him of his burden with my life's work, Patronus said, looking at Quilgan, who was basking in the brightness of the box. But now I will wish the destruction of Christmas forever, he said, picturing explosives strewn throughout Christmas-related artifacts, trees, and presents as the elf sneered at the detonator inside the box. Naruto imagined his children's anguish when their presents, as well as the tree and cookies, were gone. This was supposed to be their first Christmas, and he would be damned if this elf ruined it. No. Patronus Shunshine sheathed his blade in front of Quilgan and tackled over the top, plummeting to the lava. Patronus. Black Cat exclaimed in alarm before kicking Deadpool away and leaping over the edge herself. Patronus and Quilgan battled over the box in freefall, with the former landing a punch but the latter countering with a kick to the face that made the ninja woozy. Quilgan dove deeper and sought for the weapon of his vengeance, but Felicia grabbed it as well. Inside the box, the detonator switched to diamonds, followed by the detonator and diamonds in a cycle. Black Cat snatched it from the elf's grasp, but he managed to seize her feet. Get the hell off. Cat, let go, Patronus said, and she obeyed by pushing the box further to the ground. Before she grabbed Patronus, Black Cat looked up and spotted him. Take a deep breath. With that, the two vanished in a golden flash, but not before seeing Quilgan and his creation perish in the burning lava. Meanwhile, a regenerated Deadpool looked over and exclaimed, "Where are my chimichangas?" TTIIPMX TTIIPMX TTIIPM Boston, United States of America, Massachusetts. The region was briefly illuminated by a golden flash, followed by the sounds of vomiting, courtesy of the Hiroshin no Jutsu. Sorry about that, but you'll get used to it. I don't want to get used to it, Black Cat said angrily as the hooded hero raised his arms defensively. But what a clever trick you have there. I'm envious. Patronus motioned with his finger as if to chastise her. You shouldn't steal, Black Cat, but that's your nature, I suppose. Thank you. Black Cat exclaimed, overjoyed that someone agreed with her. That's what I should be saying to the two of you. Both associates looked to their sides and saw a conscious Santa Claus waving at them from behind his reindeer-drawn sleigh. You saved Christmas, and I want to thank you for your efforts. Patronus and Black Cat made their way up to the iconic Christmas figure. "No problem, Santa, and we finished in record time," he said, pointing to the clock on his wrist device. "Thank goodness it only took 3 hours and not the entire day, or the girls would have killed me in my sleep if they had tried." "Anyway," Felicia mumbled as she extended her open palm. "My reward, please." Santa nodded, much to the amazement of Naruto. "I made a promise, and I intend to keep it," he said, reaching into his bag and pulling out a painting that caused a gasp from the cat-themed thief. "I see you are familiar with it." "But it's said to have been lost shortly after Michelangelo finished it," Black Cat finally replied, tenderly holding the painting in front of her. "It's amazing." Patronus lifted his hand like a preschooler. "I'm a little befuddled here, but is that a lost painting?" "Yes," Felicia replied softly as she began to stroke the frame. During the Renaissance, the Battle of Cassino was to be the sister painting to Da Vinci's Battle of Anghiari, but both paintings were lost to time. She pouted significantly at Naruto. "If you had only let me keep the painting, I would have been set for life with these paintings." "You're lucky to get one at all," Naruto retorted monotonously. The ninja's remarks made Santa perk up. "And speaking of paintings, shouldn't you return that painting to the museum?" Both kids stared at him puzzledly, signaling that it was time to leave. "Well, I must be going to deliver gifts and such," he perked up, realizing he had forgotten something. "What was it again?" "Ah, there you have it." "What?" Patronus asked, catching Santa's characteristic red bag. "Is this for?" Santa nodded as he boarded his sleigh and tugged the reins before flying away. "Thanks a lot, Santa." "Merry Christmas, ho 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 ho." Naruto and Felicia watched as the mythical figure vanished like a snowflake. "He actually said it," said the ninja, much to the thief's delight. Black Cat then observed something hanging above them, and although she wondered where it came from, a certain red-colored Christmas figure comes to mind. Felicia figured she should take advantage of the situation because no one else was there. Patronus felt something soft touch his cheek, but it was muffled by the cloth on his hood. He noticed a slightly blushing Black Cat to his left. "Merry Christmas," she shouted as she ran away from him and over the brink. "Merry Christmas," Patronus replied, before sprinting back to the museum to return the painting and then home with his family. TTIIPMX Uzumaki Manor in the Homestead Grounds. Massachusetts, United States of America, is forested. "I'm home," Naruto said joyfully as he carried the bag over his shoulders in the Santa suit he had bought for the twins a week before. "Hubby." Kuroka jumped and grabbed him, smothering him in kisses. "Merry Christmas," says the narrator.
"Merry Christmas, my dear Neko." It wasn't long until Ria, Medusa, Seiko, and the twins arrived to give him holiday hugs and kisses. Naruto looked about and felt festive because of the decorations, which included snowmen, candy canes, laurel wreaths and strips, and the Christmas tree, which was covered with multicolored lights and an angel at the top. Underneath the tree was an empty spot for Santa to leave the children's presents, but this may take longer than planned.
"Where did you get that bag? Dot and painting, Naruto?" Ria inquired after viewing the painting within the bag. "It's a long story, Ria. One I plan to tell you during the night," Naruto explained. Ria stole a kiss from him before Medusa, Kuroka, and Seiko did the same because they were all dressed as Mrs. Clauses. Ashla and Misaki cooed for their father to hold them, and he did so while kissing them. DD. As the Uzumaki clan stared at the twins, time appeared to slow down. "Honey, did you hear something?" Seiko inquired as she and her other housewives gazed at the twins. Naruto inquired, "Misaki, did you say something?" This time, it was Ashla who battled with words. "DDDD, yeah." Naruto exclaimed. "Dada," the twins said simultaneously. "Mama," the parents, including the stepmothers, clapped enthusiastically as they huddled over the smiling twins, grateful to be together for the Christmas holiday with Naruto, and wishing for many days like this in the future. To be continued.
That's it for this podcast. Thanks for listening to this video. I hope it did interest you with the story, and if it did, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for help and support, and have a great day.